welcome to another episode of Love Misunderstood. I'm your host, Nicole Pacheco. Alongside here with my co-host, Nigel Kettle, which is an author and life coach. Also, our guest host is Lenarsha Prescott. And we also have another person that's a little special. We have Janae Days as well. We're all here to talk about part 2 of how to find a partner and keep the relationship interesting. Part 1 was interesting for me because I learned a lot. I learned a lot about a male's perspective of what he thinks about how to find love and to keep it interesting. Then I heard from Lenarsha, and she gave me a nice intake of a younger version of how they think of what's going on and how to keep it going. But today in part 2, we're going to talk about it more in depth of that. Lenarsha, the last episode that we had, what did, if you did or didn't, learn anything from it?
Definitely learned a couple different things from Nigel's perspective and of course from yours as well. So I think we spoke about like dating apps, Hinge, Bumble, even direct messaging someone through Instagram, kind of like being direct with a person. That was some ways that we talked about in terms of how is it that we can find a partner based on my generation.
Nice. Nigel, what about you?
So basically, last week we tried to cover as much points as we could. We set 10 points, starting with asking yourself, why are you single?
Right.
Basically, the whole point of last week's podcast was to invoke, a sense of deep searching,
Right.
to look into yourself instead of blaming the world and circumstances, to look at yourself and say, okay, what am I doing and what could I be doing differently? This week we're going to get more specific in terms of some of the things that we can do to up your chances of finding the right partner. So this week we have Janae joining us, and she's a little bit younger. So we're hoping to get her perspective also in terms of from a younger generational standpoint. So Janae, let's start with you actually, since you're new to this. This subject matter is pretty complicated because it's discussing, how to up your chances or how to find the right partner. If it was an easy topic, everybody would have the right partner. So from a younger generational perspective, what are your thoughts, on this?
Well, first off, I just want to say that a lot of my peers in my generation is a bit confusing. I think you should search for your partner in the environment that you want. So if the person you want to be like athletic, your partner in the future, you want to like play football, play basketball, the partner you want to be is like want to have them to be like an intellect. You should search in that environment and look for that partner because you're not going to find your partner in a party. So I think the environment matters a lot.
She got a point there. Because if you go to a club and you're clubbing, how do you expect that person that's into the club scene, it's going to be straight and the narrow with you when they see all of this, I'm going to call it for what it is, meat all over the place? You know what I mean? Like, how can we really have somebody that's going to be a partner to keep them interested within their relationship that they're in with you, as opposed to all the meat that is out there to pay attention to?
So I don't quite agree with you.
Oh, go ahead, let's do it.
Nor quite agree with Janae. If that's your environment, if that's, what you feel comfortable with, if you like clubbing, then of course you want a partner that actually likes the same, to club also.
Right.
I used to go to a club when I was young. I didn't consider myself, I thought I was a pretty decent person when I was young. So I'm just saying, in terms of what you're trying to seek, it doesn't matter what your preferences are. If you like clubs, then of course find a partner that enjoys clubs too, because then you can share that interest. I think it implies that people that go clubbing are actually, not quite responsible. I think that's what you're implying, right?
Not that I'm implying that, but I'm definitely saying that when you're going, and when I'm talking about club, I'm talking about like a nightclub, okay? Women are beautiful. Let's just start from there, period. We are amazing. And then you see women in different shapes, different body types, tall, short, thicker, not so much. And then the clothes that we wear and the perfume that we wear. It's a lot of temptation that's out there.
Right. So
And not only for men to women, but for women to men, because we're just as bad as you guys. We just hide it better. But
so you're saying there are too many distractions in a club?
a lot of distractions in a club, besides the alcohol, besides the music, besides if people are doing other things, and we're just going to leave that there, besides enjoying the music and the alcohol that's there. Again, like I'm saying, men are into shapes. You guys look at the curves and everything else that women has. So that is going to be a distraction. Even men that are there with their women, they're going to look. Even women that are there with their men, they're going to look to see what's out there. Good.
Sorry, I was going to ask you, like, why is it that you disagree with what Janae said earlier?
Go for it.
Your partner in a
No, I
specific
agree with the
environment?
first part of it. It's just that in terms of the club, because you can find, decent people in the club also.
Do you think it's going to be a partner that's going to be a lifelong partner, though?
Yeah, yeah. I once went to a club in Toronto and I found my girlfriend in the club.
Right, but are you married to that girlfriend right now?
No, but it doesn't mean that she wasn't, a good person or a good
Oh, no, I'm
human
not saying that
being,
she's not a good
or
person,
that
but
she
we're talking
wasn't,
about keeping the
responsive or-
relationship. We're talking about finding a partner and
Yeah.
keeping that relationship interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it matters where you find your partner. I think what matters is what you do afterwards. Or, if you guys have a genuine interest in each other and you guys are compatible, then I think that's the most important thing.
I'm sorry I didn't clarify before. With the club example, I think that was like a bad one, to be honest.
Good.
But I'm saying, like, if you want to find someone who is a creative, someone who's artistic, you want someone who paints, you want someone who indulge in those hobbies, you go to the environment where you see that person's going to be in. So, like museums, art galleries. So you go to that environment to find your partner. So I feel like
Right.
that in itself, like the hobbies will always stay the same. It doesn't matter if that person takes a break from those hobbies. Them being a creative at heart will always be like their themselves and be true to themselves. They'll always be the same.
Well, Nasha, you want any follow up on this before we move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, a couple weeks ago, we had talked about making sure that you find some type of compatibility with your partner or similar interests. And Janae actually, her saying, hey, find your partner in a specific environment that you see your partner or you see yourself with your partner in, that's going to be a like that's a push, right? Or like you get a heads up in terms of like finding a partner that way, if that makes sense.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So instead of like just finding your partner wherever, like, okay, you know what? I prefer to have a partner who's more creative, or I prefer to have a partner who enjoys going out or traveling. And so you put yourself in that environment so that it's,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree completely with that part in terms of, what Janae said earlier, in terms of, being in the environment that you feel, more comfortable in terms of the environment that matches your personality best. Because then you'll meet people that share the same interests. So, yeah, and that's exactly, one of the things. What I don't think you should do, I don't think you should limit yourself in terms of, just be open to meet the right person anywhere at any time. That is the
that is a
only.
definite. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Don't ever limit yourself.
There are a couple of things I want to cover to make sure we cover in this discussion today. One is actually vulnerabilities and how that plays into, your relationship. Because one of the things I find is that a lot of people have a hard time being vulnerable, and because, I guess one of the main reasons they don't like to be vulnerable is that they don't like to have it thrown back in their faces, which does happen, from time to time. So I want us to just cover this a little bit in terms of vulnerability, how it applies to your relationship, and how vulnerable you think you should be. How much do you think you should discuss with your partner or share with your partner, especially when you're dating, trying to find a new person?
As soon as you mentioned that topic, I realized that in this generation, a reason why a lot of women would not like expose themselves or like be completely like open with their partner is the fear of being like if a fear of being exposed on the internet actually is whether you're sending a nude picture, whether you're telling them about their family issues. That's something that is literally in our generation where like their partner would run to the internet and actually tell like the online friends what's going on in their partner's life if their relationship were to come to an end. So that's one of the, I say, the bad part of not being like completely honest, or one of the good part of completely not being honest, because the women have to protect themselves in their relationship. And it's common nowadays for like the men to actually expose the women's like pictures, family lives, and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons why a woman is not like completely trusting or open with their partners. And that's something we have to consider in this generation also.
So talking about vulnerability, I see where Janae's coming from in terms of how social media really affects our mindset and, being afraid of being exposed on the internet. That is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I do believe as well that because mental health and like taking care of ourselves are more perverse now in comparison to like how it was years ago, I feel as if we as Gen Zs, millennials, we're more prone to being vulnerable because we have the help that we need in order to understand how to, go about certain relationships or certain situations. Um, and, like to have therapists to talk to. Um, I feel like I see a lot of young people nowadays, honestly, like having therapists to speak to with their concerns. And it honestly shows that they want to do better or they want more for themselves. Um, in addition, I also believe that because um, of the internet, and we have examples of people or like relationships who are vulnerable with each other, you kind of see that and you're like, hey, you know what? Like, if they can be vulnerable and they were successful within their relationship, like, I guess I should do the same. Now there needs to be a balance, I think, in terms of how vulnerable you should be with a person. I don't think they need to know your whole life story on the first date, to be honest. But like being honest about certain things, whether it is that you're talking to multiple people, whether it is that you're not ready for a relationship, whether it is you just want to have some fun, right? Um, and people, I feel like in my generation are more honest and open with each other when it comes to that. I don't know about the guys, but I know some the girls are. Yes, there is a fear of being exposed on social media, but at the same time, like I feel as if we're more prone to being vulnerable and open just because we see that it works. What are your thoughts about that, Jenny? Do you like agree with that? Do you disagree? Do you think like our generation are more prone to being vulnerable when it comes to relationships or just like being yourself because we have the support system um from like therapists and even just like friends as well?
You know what? Vulnerability, I think my mistake was being too open and too honest. And because I just want to get it over and done with the jitters of meeting somebody new and because let's just be honest, it's like a honeymoon. The first 3, 4, maybe even 6 months is all BS. We're saying things that we think the other person wants to hear. We're doing things that we think that they want to see and all this other crap. And then finally, people get involved with each other in the real sense of being honest. So my vulnerability is I think I am too vulnerable from jump, right from the beginning, because I'm too honest.
Okay, and when you say it, like what information do you share? Like, what do you?
I'm not going to give you my life story on the first date. But I make it very clear in what kind of relationship I'm looking for. One, I make it clear that I want a relationship. Because I'm not going to be dating you just to date you. If I just want to have some fun, I got a few numbers that I can contact right now just to have some fun. Let's just keep it real. And I'm sure that we all do. So my thing is this.
You didn't hear that, Celeste.
So my thing is this, that I think I'm too vulnerable because I'm too honest. And I think I do that because I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I want honesty. I want your vulnerability. I want to deal with the real person so I know what I'm dealing with from Jump Street and continuing. But not everybody's that way.
So what kind of information do you think is appropriate to share? Like,
I think in the first date, the information that you should share is, what are you looking for? Are you just looking for somebody to have fun with? Are you looking for a relationship? I think you should let it be known if you are currently in a relationship, currently married, currently in a situationship. Do you have an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend that is still technically your somebody that you call when you need a little something, something? Like, these are conversations that people should have from the beginning, so that at least they know, all right, this is somebody I just want to have fun with. This is somebody that I could see a potential with that can have a relationship, or so on and so forth.
it's interesting. This both Janae and Lanasha mentioned this, and it's something that I've never really thought about seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the issue of what the younger generation say is now on the internet, like
Everything's on the internet.
or where you can be vulnerable to somebody, and all of a sudden that information is now spread across, used as a kind of weapon against you.
Yes.
Which is a pretty interesting point. My whole concept in terms of being vulnerable is that once you start getting serious and you say to yourself, okay, I really like this person and I really, want to spend, my life with this person. Once you start thinking that way, I think it's important for you to kind of like let your guards down a little bit. A lot of people like enter relationships where they're protecting their heart because they're afraid of being hurt, or afraid that your information is going to be used against you.
Yeah.
I guess the younger generation have it to a 10 degree. That's even more so now than say in our time. Our generation is not so inclined to do that as much as the younger generation. But if you're not open with your partner, if you're not open to share, like, I like to go into a relationship knowing exactly what I'm getting into. I like to know everything I can about this person. I want to know what their flaws are, and I want to know as much as possible, because I don't want to get into a relationship and then later on in life I'm surprised, or after you get married or you get really serious, then you find out that there are little things that were really crucial, in your decision making process that weren't disclosed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's very important though that you assess the person and come to some, understand or conclusion that this is the person that you can share information with.
Agreed.
So you need to get a good idea of the personality that you're dealing with, and how safe your information is going to be in this person's hand before you're completely open. But I think once you've decided that, yes, this is somebody that I really like and somebody that I feel I can share with, I think you should be as open as possible. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have your own personal secrets that that you hold on to, but I think those should be, very small. Most people tend to do the opposite, where they have a host of secrets that they're keeping in a bag here somewhere. But at the same time, they want their partner to be open and disclose, everything about themselves, but they're hiding all these things.
That's interesting. I think all of our opinions, if we take it all, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and put them all together, we'll make one really good human.
And, and so another point I should make is that, so a lot of the times, like, people don't want to disclose information because they're afraid that it's going to be thrown in their face at some point.
Or maybe what they're hiding is a little too intense and they don't want the other people outside of the world knowing.
Right. But I mean, if you really trust the person, once you really say, okay, this is somebody that I can really trust, because you feel it in your gut about this person. But we're still afraid that, this may come up in an argument. Well, I can tell you 100%, it is going to come up in an argument. Unfortunately, what we humans do is we take this information in and we store it. And in most cases, we're not being malicious, but at some point in some argument, we may use it to make reference to this, maybe to say, see, you haven't changed. This is an issue that you had before and it's still persistent right now. But at some point you may use to make a statement. The truth is that all of us do this. And at some point, whatever you share with your partner is going to come up in some argument or some discussion later online. So it's not a matter of if it's going to come up, it's a matter of when. If it's done with malicious intention and the person is doing it to hurt you, then that's where the line is. That's where you draw the line. Because now this person is taking your secrets or your vulnerabilities, weaponizing it and using it against you. So that is now where you should be seriously concerned about sharing anything else with this person.
Well, maybe that's why people are not so forthcoming in the beginning and they feel it's going to be used against me, so why say anything?
Most often, that's what I hear from people, why they're afraid to be vulnerable. So this other one is actually pretty crucial. It's so you want a partner. Now, how do you go about attracting that partner? As humans, we're not different from, say, a goat in terms of, the things we do to attract a partner.
Okay.
Or a fish or a bird.
I'm thinking I'm a goat.
that actually, some birds put on this fancy dance.
I've heard of that.
And fish do the same thing also. As humans, we go through a similar ritual,
right?
Where we have to the bottom line is you have to impress this person.
Yeah.
You have to get their attention.
That's why we feel like we're lied to in the beginning.
And the question is, how do you do it? You have to stand out. If you're at a party and there are like 50 people in a party and you see one guy there that you really like, more than likely there are other women that are at that party that sees that one guy. Like, how do you up your chances of
getting to that person?
Right.
Gotcha.
When you guys see somebody that you're interested in, what do?
Go right up to them.
You see?
I'm like, at least on both ends, like I have heard stories of like men who are bartenders, and because they're so good looking, like women easily leave their number on the back of the receipt, or in a club, like girls will go up to guys will go up to girls.
What about you, Janae?
I completely agree. I remember I was telling my mom and my sister that I'm gonna ask this guy out. Then my mom started screaming at me. She was like, women should not be doing that. The men should be doing the first step. Do not do that. Respect yourselves. And I was like, is this how she sees like our generation, that we're not respecting ourselves?
Yes.
So I want to hear more.
Totally. Yeah. Me, I'm from the generation, I'm probably closer to your mom's age. Yeah. Do you think I'm gonna go out there and start asking a guy out, come and dance with me and all this other stuff?
You've never done that?
No. In my entire life. What? But when I'm dancing and I don't have a little behind and I know how to dance, I guess that rhythm of what my behind is doing is telling them, come here, because I've never asked anybody, but they've asked me to dance. Honestly, all BS aside, I've never asked somebody out on a date. I've never asked somebody out to dance. I've never asked somebody for a coffee. And my first date, by the way, it doesn't have to be this glamorama thing. We can go out for coffee or tea because it's to getting to know each other. It's not about how much you spend. But for me to ask somebody out, I'm with your mama. I'm sorry, Janae. Why are you crazy? I'll be telling my daughter the same thing.
So I think it goes back, right, to not limiting yourself. And like, if we see someone who we might be interested in, why would we hold back from that opportunity or not jump on the gun because, oh, men should take the first, men should make the first move. And, as women, like, we deserve to be da 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 da. Like, no, you're gonna miss out on a probably a good opportunity if you decide to be quiet. So take advantage. If you see some eye candy, if you see someone that you're interested in, yeah, like absolutely go after it. And it also shows as a woman, right? Like, ooh, she knows what she wants. That is rare. And it's way more attractive than a woman who decides to just sit, in a club or just be shy. Like, I mean, there are women who are like that, right? Which is fine, naturally. And the right person will be there for them. But no, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
I like what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean that is the main thing is if you like somebody, don't wait. Don't leave it up to chance because another person is going to be the first to do that.
Watch out, world. Here I come.
So if you like somebody, make that first step.
Okay.
Start that conversation. Put yourself out there. And this is a problem that I've heard from several women, and there are men who are like that too, even though men are more the aggressor. But what happened is that they see this person that they like and they just wait and they're wishing that some magic is going to happen that allow them to, maybe she's going to trip and he helps her up. But something out of the ordinary is going to happen to cause them to have a conversation. The first thing is just start a conversation. First, put yourself, if you're looking for a partner, go to places where you'll find, single people, like, don't be afraid to you can't be like looking for a partner, you're staying home all the time. You have to be out there to meet people unless you're going to be dating on a website or something like that, which, some people do. I find that the older generation don't like it too much, whereas the younger generation are more inclined to do that. But the point is, if you're looking for somebody, put yourself in the places where you can find people. Don't be staying at home. And when you do see somebody that you like, make the move, because if you don't, somebody else is going to do it. Don't be sitting down and saying, oh, the right opportunity is going to come. Maybe she'll walk by me or something like that. You just have to be bold and do what needs to be done.
Okay, I'm going to take you up on that.
So that is, one of the first, steps to really to put yourself out there and don't be shy.
But if something goes wrong after I put myself out there, I'm calling you, sir. Well, Janae, what do you think about upping your chances? Because Anasha pretty much says, put yourself out there. Honestly, of course, but put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to speak to someone, to introduce yourself to someone. And both of you agreed on this. That wouldn't be my way. So let's just say that you are you're at a party, just like Nigel was just saying, you're at a party. This is the summer, so you go to a barbecue and you're around, people around the same age, let it be family mixed with friends and so on and so forth. How would you deal with a situation like that?
I think it honestly depends on my confidence level that day. So my confidence is like at a moderate level, I'll probably like ask around saying, who's that guy? What do we know about him? I'll probably like ask my friends to like find out more information about him. Then I can approach him. But if I'm just going full heads on, like deep into like just speaking to him, like up front, I feel like I'll probably need a little boost of confidence from my friends or something. Or if he's that good looking, or I feel that energy between us, that spark between us, of course I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot.
Oh,
I
like that.
Yeah, in terms of like walking up to somebody, I'm not sure why it's so difficult for people to do this. We all like people that have confidence or display confidence because it's an attractive quality.
Yeah.
If the person is like shy in the background there, we tend to overlook them. When you scour, like, let's say you're looking for a partner, you go to a party, you're actually looking for the person that usually catches your attention is usually the most confident person in that room. It doesn't matter if the guy is like a GQ attractive guy or if he's like, just dressed nicely. It's just the way he carries himself. I remember in high school there was this girl. She was, by all standards, society standards, she wasn't a pretty girl, but there was a way about her that was just very attractive because it's the way she walked, the way she carried herself, the way she talked, and I was like, I wanted her. and, but she wasn't like the typical girl that I would find attractive, but it was just her confidence level, the way she carried herself, that was like, that meant so much to me. And in general, that's kind of like it too. It's like, you like a guy and your friend may say, what do you see in that guy, in terms of look wise, right? But there's something that's, so confidence is like one of the main thing that you must have. So whatever you have to do before, to build up your confidence, you just have to make it a priority. You got to start working on this at home, in the mirror, like looking at yourself and boosting yourself, saying, I am beautiful, guys used to do this. They used to like try these little, what do you call them?
Pickup lines.
Pickup lines. There's a reason why people do that, because believe it or not, they work. No matter how cheesy it is, it gets the conversation.
It gets the conversation going, yes.
Even if the girl says,
Especially
what kind of cheesy line is that?
Yeah.
But this conversation is starting.
Yeah.
And so for women too, do the same thing. Think about what you're going to say, but have these things in the back of your, because men usually do. They usually like have like 10 pickup lines
and they're usually horrible, cheesy ones too.
But the easiest and best pickup line is a simple one. How are you doing today? That is just like, that starts every conversation. It's not like being aggressive. It's just a simple question. And the more it feels like, you say it like you're actually genuinely interested in the person, in the person's day, not in them, in their day, that usually starts a conversation going. And it works every single time.
How are you today? How was your day today? Yeah. You know what? I'd start a conversation with somebody would say that.
And you can do it with anybody.
Instead of these cheesy things.
It's like, how is your day going? Or just like that. Or, something very simple. And it doesn't have to be like anything elaborate. Yeah. And that gets it going every single time.
You know what? I think I would react better if that was the case. Honestly. If that was the case, because sometimes they come up with some stupid, cheesy line that you're like, did he just say that?
Well, the next time you see an attractive guy or a guy that catches your interest,
I'm telling you, this time you said confidence and go up forward. I have plenty of confidence. I just don't want to come out too aggressive, because that's another thing. Sometimes men, especially men my generation, and I'm in my 40s, some men don't like that. What? Especially my generation. What? Because that you step up first, because then now it's okay. I've known people in relationships.
But if they feel that you're coming onto them, right? The reason why you start by something very simple, like how was your day going? You're starting a conversation. You're not saying to this person, I want you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So basically all it does is open the door for conversation.
All right.
Right. And you could say that, exchange a few things, walk away, come back and say, hey, I see you're enjoying yourself here, or something like, something that's not like, it doesn't feel like you're coming on to them. Right. But what it does, it makes them comfortable with talking to you and you comfortable with talking to them. Right. And wherever it goes from there, if they have an interest in you, trust me, if that man has an interest in you too, and you walk up to him and say, how was your day? He's going to start chatting like a parrot.
Nice canary. That works for me.
Anyway, so that's that's important that you do that. Also too, it's important that when you meet somebody, what usually happens is that we want to impress them so much that we start like feeding them with all this information that is completely relevant, and it just like, it feels like you're trying to impress them. And the moment somebody gets the impression that you're trying to impress them, they start losing interest in you.
I know I do.
Right. But it's one of those things that we instinctively do because we feel like, okay, we have to impress them in the small window before they lose interest in us. So we start feeding them all this, crap. Just try to avoid that. Just keep the conversation casual. And in general, when you meet somebody and you're interested in them, you want them to feel that you are interested in what they have to say.
Yeah.
Not so much about you. That will come later on, right? But that is how you gain, people's confidence, people's trust, or the ability for them to share more with you, to be more open with you, is to give them the impression that you're genuinely interested in them, not trying to like bombard them with information about yourself.
That makes a lot of sense because young ladies over here were talking about, like Narsha was mentioning, on how on the first date you don't want to just like vomit all this information and just give them your whole life story. So, ladies, let me just ask you guys a quick question on. So, let's just say that you meet someone and they start talking to you. What do you prefer? What would be the best pickup line for you to hear? Like, if you would ask, what would be the ideal pickup line? I'm asking both individually, Lenarsha as well as Janae.
If you're coming up to me, you got to come with some type of not spice, but a little bit of. I like cheesy because I'm a cheesy person. So if you come with some like cheesy comment that's
Like,
cute and funny, um, hmm, like, you know, I see from across the room that smile of yours is like gleaming, and I'm blinded a little bit. I don't know, something cheesy, like cheesy and stupid, like but there when we start talking, we have conversations, I can see their genuineness, right? Like they're like, all right, I'm joking, like I just wanted to get your attention, like what's your name? So just but don't come to me on some, oh, you so beautiful, you so sexy.
mm,
Um like that's unattractive.
agreed.
So you want it to be direct in a way that you know that they're trying to pick you up.
Yes.
Is that the case?
Yeah. And then also like pay attention to me. If you want to come to me, say something that you've observed, right, about my looks, I guess, right? Because that's the first thing that we all see is the body and the face. So if you talk about my smile, if you talk about my hair, if you talk about like something that is respectful, right? Like I would appreciate that because I know that you're paying attention and I know that you're interested.
Right.
All right. What about you, Janae?
I think I'm the opposite. I do not want a cheesy line because it sort of comes to me like it's unoriginal. So I want something unique. And I love that when they start off with a compliment saying you're beautiful. I love that. Like I love compliments in general. So I'm gonna read you a pickup line that someone said to me. I need that with all the blessings and problem it comes with. He
Oh,
actually put
no.
thought into that.
He's toxic. No, thank you.
Toxic, toxic.
God.
Hey, thank you. No, no,
No,
no.
no.
Y'all think? Wait, is that actually toxic?
Yes. Yes, that person's gonna come with problems. That
Like, what are
person's
you
gonna
Oh,
saying
come
right
with
now?
drama. No, thank you.
I think I gotta reevaluate what my thought process is.
Yeah, girl. Yeah,
Oh,
girl. No, thank you.
Okay, but Janae, I will agree with you, right? When you said originality, like be unique with it. So that's
Yeah,
why I said, like,
toxicity.
like
I
I
agree
need
with the
something
uniqueness though.
special. Yes.
Yeah, something special about me, right? Like I felt that. I agree with that one.
Mhm.
Well, there's so much more to say on this topic, but we've come to the end of the show. We'll pick this up as we continue to delve into the subject of love misunderstood.
I totally agree that we're going to learn a lot. I'm going to say, to be honest with you, Nigel, I've had fun with these 2 episodes, and I'm learning if I'm going to call it my faults on what I have not been doing. Have I been out there looking do I want to have somebody in my life? Yes. Have I been out there looking? No. Have I done, on these online dating things? Yes. They're all about hooking up. Everybody wants to meet you, to bang you, to keep it moving to the next one. I really want to have a real relationship with someone that I can grow old with. I'm getting older. I'm going to need somebody that's going to have to take care of me. You know what I mean? So when you're younger, you don't think about those things. But when you get older, you're like, wait a minute. time is ticking over here. When you wake up with the body aches and everything else, you get reminded, oh, yeah, I should have someone around. This is an awesome episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on our part 2 of finding a partner and keeping the relationship interesting. I hope you all get to find a partner and have the ability to keep it interesting as possible.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube as well.
We apologize for not getting to cover all 10 points in this episode. However, we do so in our website article. Please note that we will also continue the subject in an upcoming episode entitled, How to Keep Your Relationship Interesting.